Hello everyone and welcome to another SunCat Bite. During today's SunCat Bite, we're going to be talking about some statements that are particularly with loops. So breaks, jump statements, continue, and then common mistakes and debugging of those statements. So jump statements are what all of these things are categorized as. And jump statements cause the program to jump, which is why they are called jump statements, to another location in the code without checking a condition. Don't want to save it. There we go. Okay, there are 4 of these statements in C++, and they are some we've actually seen already. Which are the 2 that we've seen? The break and the return we've actually already seen. Okay, but the break and continue statements are used in loops. Break is also used in what statements? Switch statements. Make those bold so you know their statements. Return statement is used to exit from inside a function, and to this point we've seen this in our main function, but in this chapter, or in chapter 4, we'll also see when you look in functions, you'll see the return statement in functions. So that one we're going to save for a little bit later. GoTo, just do this. Does this. So GoTo statement allows the program to control to jump to a labeled statement in your code. So you actually put a labeled statement. The only other thing I'm going to say about GoTo statements is this. They're dangerous. They can be an issue. Most people don't really use them, so they can make the code really hard to read because you're jumping around. So I would say use them with caution, and in fact in this class don't even use them at all. All right. Now the break statement is useful. Let's just paste this. And is used in 2 cases. The first case you already know. Break statement is used in a switch statement, so break's used to terminate a case condition, and the break causes the program control to jump to the end of the switch statement. Remember from before when we looked at break statements, if you don't have a break in a particular case, it'll keep going to the next case inside of a switch statement. Now, in a loop, the break statement is used to stop a loop immediately. So you put the break statement in there, no matter what else is going on in the loop, it stops the loop. So if the program reaches that break statement in the loop, it jumps to the line of code following the loop. So right after the curly braces, basically. Continue statement is a little bit different. It's used in a loop, but what it does is it forces the next iteration of the loop to occur. So, and we'll show an example of a continue statement here in a second. The continue statement basically says, okay, go back up to the top of the loop. It doesn't exit the loop, it just forces an iteration. And we'll look at that example here in a little bit. But before I do that, common mistakes that we see with conditional statements and just some other general things, conditional statements, loops, and things like that. So, first thing that we'll see is this. When you're using conditional statements, you have counter greater than 5 and less than 10. This is a common mistake that people make. If you want to do this, if something want to be greater than 5 and less than 10, you need to use the actual phrase in each place, right? The variable. So it's going to really need to be if counter is greater than 5 and counter is less than 10. And this should be a lowercase c, right? If we follow convention. Okay, so the correct way is this. OR operator is treated the same way. But remember, you have to have the counter statement there. So that's one debugging statement for conditionals. Second, and a big mistake that a lot of people will make, is that equal and equal are different, right? This is assignment. This is comparison, right? This is relational. So this says, are the two operands, are the two sides equal? This says, assign the value. When you do something like this, always think same as and think of this as assignment. When you do something like this, whatever's in here is going to always evaluate to true. So you really want to have equal, okay? Think about that. Be aware of that mistake. One other thing to look at here is when you're using floating point, when you do these equal, there's a really small decimal value or a decimal difference for floating points. So you can't use equal really for floating points. There's a way to do that we'll look at later where you can use absolute value and look at a couple things. Look at the small inaccuracy. But when you're doing those comparators, you really want to do it on integers. So keep that in mind as well. Okay, so that's actually our third mistake. And that floats aren't the same as int. So basically what we just said, let me paste here what that basically is. But it's what I just described. Okay. And another mistake, semicolons and braces. This is one that you're going to see with loops typically, and it's this. When you have a loop, this is a problem here. The semicolon there, don't want to have that. What that basically does is the code gets stuck in an infinite loop. We never get into code, right? So that empty statement's executed and you just sit there forever and ever and ever. If you want to get out of a loop when you're running the program, type Control-C at the same time and that'll get you out of that infinite loop. And then the last one that you'll see with loops is this misplaced else or illegal else, and you'll see it when you have an unexpected end of file. And so typically the biggest thing there is this. Most common mistake, not having your complete set of braces when using your if, else, or switch. So make sure, remember I told you need to let Visual Studio do the indenting for you and do the curly braces. It helps you give proper syntax out of the box, right? So just let it do that. And if you happen to see some errors there, you're going to see two kinds. If you're not doing that, you're going to see something like this, or perhaps something like this. So you're going to see an illegal else without matching if, or an unexpected end of file. This is a good key that you don't have matching curly braces, or you have an uneven amount of else's and else ifs or ifs, anything like that, if else's. So your code won't compile. But if you have those errors, it probably means you have this misplaced else or illegal else, or if, whatever it might be, or curly braces. All right, so that's that. Now let's look at the continue statement in a little bit more detail. And here we go. So we have this program here, the small program, that basically is used to get 10 different numbers. Well, count less than 10, we're going to get 10 valid numbers, right? See out, enter a number between 1,000 and 4,000. So we want to get numbers between that, 1,000 and 4,000. So if the number is less than 1,000, and it's inclusive, right? Or the number is greater than 4,000, we just saw this here, right? We just saw that that would be incorrect. One of the common mistakes people make. But say the number is less than 1,000 or greater than 4,000, then you say no, not in the correct range. And you do a continue. So what basically happens there is you don't execute this code. You have a continue statement and just goes back up and asks again. So you never got a valid number. It's just basically saying, yeah, you messed up, you didn't get the number. Let's go try again. So what will happen here is this code makes us get 10 numbers in that range. I'm going to start without debugging. So I'm going to enter 1001. That's one number. And then 1002. That's good. 5,000 is 3. No, 5,000 is out of range, so it told me, right? It needs to be between, so 4,000. So now we have two good so far, 1,001, 1,002. 5,000 was out, 222, 333, 444, out of range. So that's 2 out of range, right? So how many have been in the range? We've had 1001, 1002, 2002, 2222, 3333. 1, 2, 3, 4 in range. So let's do 1000. That's good. We can do it again, right? 1000, 1000, 4000. What if I enter one that's not in the range again? 6000 gives me an error. 1000 again, and 1000 one more time. Is that our 10? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 numbers in the range. And notice that continue statement basically kept us from incrementing that counter as we went through it. That's what a continue does. Conversely, if I were to put a break statement in here, what's going to happen? Okay, so I'm going to go with my debugging now. If I put a break statement in here and I put something that's in the range, it's good. As soon as I put something out of the range, I'm done. Not in the correct range, and notice we went out of this loop here, so then the program ended up exiting. That's it for this Suncat Byte. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, discussion board forum, shoot me an email, or I'll see you during lab or office hours. Until then, take care and talk to you soon. Bye.